Hey guys, great to see you this Thursday. My name is Cindy Mezas. Right now, I'm your preach teacher here at Healing Journeys Today. We have so many great teachers here, so man, just listen. I know this is so early, but the early bird gets the job done. You know, that's a Message translation of Proverbs. And listen, this is so great. Healing Journeys Today. We've got so much great stuff for you. We've got merchandise. You can get the merchandise, so just check that out. We got a newsletter every single month. There's a new newsletter, and I just know it will bless your heart as it has done so many people. And the thing is, you just have to go to www.healingjourneystoday.com. And you can check everything out that you want to know, need to know. If you have not given us your email address, please do so, because then you will not miss a thing, you know. And also check out the Friday's guest teachers. Now, here's the deal. I know there are so many teachers already, so why would I listen to a guest teacher? But the thing is, they bring fresh fire, you know, they bring the word freshly again. Maybe you've heard us all, every single teacher, every single day of the week, and you've heard us, yeah, this is how Julieann preaches, this is how Cindy teaches, you know, this is how Mike teaches, this is how Nichole teaches. So you can get like used to us. And then there's this Friday teacher with fresh fire, you know, like they're actually also saying the same thing because we're all teaching from the word. But it can be a fresh face, you know, and they say it just in a slightly different way. And then all of a sudden something clicks. And the same goes for the journey. And that's on Saturday. So check out the journey on Saturday, because when people tell their testimonies, you know, we all have healing journey videos, but there's so much that it's not in the video. You really have to hear it. And it's the greatest thing how Julieann does it, because it's like interview style. So she asks questions, and then people, they can just give their answers. You never know if someone there is telling you something and it's just for you. You know, it just brightens your day, encourages you, gives you hope, because testimonies, they will give you that hope. There's also faith within the testimonies. Okay, so check those things out. If I went too fast, you just go to www.healingjourneystoday.com and you just check that out. Okay, now listen, today I'm just going to talk about the ABCs of everything that I'm teaching, actually. So we have to start somewhere, because I've seen that sometimes we can drift away from things that are just simple. It's just a word, but we can drift away from it because we want to know, you know, we want to have the biggest revelations, and we want to know the Greek and the Hebrew words. And that's great. That's all very good. I also love studying the word. I love the Hebrew. I love the Greek. It's all very good. But I just want to go back to those foundational things, you know. Let's just start at the beginning. Because why am I teaching certain things? It's not really because I have experienced healing, and I'm just so sure that every single one who's watching, either you are in need of healing for someone else, someone you love, someone you know, or you yourself are in need of healing. And I know you're watching every single day. Some of you guys are watching every single day because you want the physical manifestation of the health and the healing or the restoration. And that's actually what every single one wants. I know that. And that's why I need to go back to the ABCs, not because I think people don't know it. I know you know it. You know, as a life transformation coach, one thing people always say, it's always, and they say, oh, I know. But I know. And I'm like, but if you know, why don't you do it? Or why don't you act according to what you know? And the thing is, sometimes we think we know, but we don't know, or we know just half of it or a quarter, you know. Sometimes it doesn't really click. So first things first. How did you get sick? Not because God wanted you sick, not because God has sickness, not because Jesus came to make people sick, not because Holy Spirit thought, well, let's make people sick and so we can get them healed. No, it's none of the above. The Bible tells us that God cannot lie. I always go back, if I'm talking about this first ABC step in ABC, I always go back to the book of Genesis. Why the book of Genesis? Because in Genesis chapter 1 is where we can find how God created the heavens and the earth, how he did that, and why he did that, and what he created. If I can get it open. So in Genesis chapter 1, and I cannot read everything. So today I might not, really get into the Bible verses. I just have to give like an overview. So in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night." So the evening and the morning were the first day. Well, here's the thing. I can get into this text and just preach and preach and preach and teach and teach and teach. But I have to give an overview. But here it tells us that let me say it like this, that what he made, the light, it was good. Now, if you go and read Genesis chapter 1 for yourself, you cannot find sickness. You cannot find disease. You cannot find stress. You cannot find worry. You cannot find anxiety. You cannot find panic attacks. You cannot find anything of that stuff. You cannot find mental illness, trouble. You cannot find sickness or disease, illness or ailment. You just go and check that out for yourself. Now, he made all of these things, and every time he says it is good. When he said, for instance, let's drop down to verse 11. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. 12. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that it was good. So again, it was good. And he tells us over and over again that it was good. But then he starts on making people. I know first the animals and everything, but you have to really read it for yourself. But listen to what he said. Then God said, verse 26, the same chapter 1 of Genesis 1. Then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. Then verse 28. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. But the thing is, where I wanted to go to, and I have to drop down. I'm reading the whole chapter. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to drop down because I want to go to this part. Verse 31. Then God saw